Sarah Fuller was about to be married. Instead, at just 32 years old, she was being buried, dead from an overdose of powerful pain medication called fentanyl. Her death is now part of a growing concern of the drug and how it's being prescribed. This man, billionaire Dr. John Kapoor, is at the center of a full-blown investigation. His Arizona pharmaceutical company, Insys, manufactures Subsys, a spray pain medication with fentanyl. He's accused of lining his pockets by selling his drugs to patients who don't need them.
There's no evidence against him. He didn't do anything wrong.
Despite his lawyer's denial, 7 of his top Insys executives have been indicted, including Insys founder Dr. John Kapoor, accused of racketeering, mail fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy, charges Kapoor is denying.
Do you think there are some doctors that may have led to this problem?
I'm sure there are.
Dr. Nikesh Seth is also in legal hot water, named in a lawsuit alleging drug company Insys and several doctors engaged in a nationwide racket involving an opioid so easy to take, you just spray it under your tongue.
How long have you been in this office?
So we've been in here about 6 months.
Investigative reporter Dave Biscobing for our Phoenix affiliate ABC 15 grills Dr. Seth about his ties to Insys, the company that produces Subsys.
You were tied with them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to that?
So for the company itself, I can't really speak for the company. I'm not too sure about that. And being tied to it, there are legal things going on that I'm unable to speak for.
The active ingredient in Subsys is fentanyl, an opioid so powerful it's sometimes compared to heroin. The FDA has approved Subsys for cancer patients only. Here's the problem. The lawsuit alleges Insys changed patient records to indicate they had cancer when in fact they did not, then charge insurance companies for pricey Subsys prescriptions. The lawsuit also alleges Insys bribed doctors with what it calls sham speaker fees in exchange for writing Subsys prescriptions. Named in the suit, 3 Arizona doctors, and yes, one of them is Dr. Nikesh Seth.
So that's not something you really want to talk about?
No.
Okay, because you were the number 2 doctor according to the Attorney General's office. So
yeah,
you wrote a lot of prescriptions, got a lot of money from them. So
yeah, so we wrote a lot about it. We wrote a lot of scripts, but it was a good product.
And the suit alleges all those scripts made Insys a lot of money.
We're talking millions, tens of millions?
We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Whistleblower Patty Nixon worked for Insys and testified for the FBI, claiming she falsified patient records and billed insurance companies for payment.
Most of the prescriptions and the charts that came over were for your regular chronic pain, knee pain, back pain, menstrual cramps.
Not cancer.
Not cancer.
Was it unethical?
Yes.
Was it criminal?
Absolutely.
Authorities say this is the call that came in for Sarah Fuller, allegedly between an Insys employee and an insurance company rep, obtained by the office of Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill.
Hi, my name is and I'm with the doctor's office.
But this caller is not from the doctor's office. She's allegedly a rep from the Insys office.
And what is the diagnosis for the patient?
Medications intended for the management of breakthrough cancer pain.
But authorities claim Sarah Fuller never had cancer. She was suffering neck and back pain. Despite that, the McCaskill investigation shows Fuller did get a Subsys prescription, only to die 15 months later, allegedly from an overdose of fentanyl.
There were some insurance companies that started to catch on. They would put us on hold, and they'd be like, hold on for just a second, because they were suspicious. And then they would turn around and they would call the actual doctor's office themselves. And they would come back on the line with me, and they would be like, I just called the doctor's office, and they say there's no Patty that works there. Well, eek.
But Patty tells Biscobing those gotcha moments didn't stand in their way.
These insurance companies have hundreds and hundreds of phone reps that are answering these phone calls. So we just hang up and call back and see if we could get an easier one.
And Nixon says Insys had a name for the doctors who played ball.
Yeah, the whales.
One of those whales, the lawsuit claims, is Dr. Nikesh Seth.
We have employees inside Insys who have spoken to us on the record who say that they falsified charts for your patients.
For my patients?
Yes.
Yeah, so unfortunately if they did that, that's obviously a problem with the company.
The Arizona Attorney General says it's Dr. Seth's problem too. Its lawsuit alleges prior to receiving those sham speaking fees, the pain doc wrote 11 Subsys prescriptions over 2 years. But when Insys started writing him checks, the lawsuit alleges Dr. Seth wrote 820 substance prescriptions, approximately 23 per month. Dr. Seth tells Biscobing the speaker fees are standard operating procedure.
That's common in the industry. It's unfortunate that it happened to be with a company that's under major scrutiny.
Dr. Seth's lawyers have responded to the lawsuit, saying Seth lacked knowledge of Insys' schemes. And Dr. Seth tells Biscobing he only had his patients' best interests in mind.
I see thousands of patients. Only 1% of my patients have ended up on this product.
So you stand by how you treated those patients?
I do, you know.
Crime Watch Daily reached out to Insys for a response to the allegations and has not received comment. Insys did post a press release on its website, stating in part, the allegations contained in the Arizona Attorney General's complaint relate to former employees and physicians that are no longer associated with our company. It goes on to say we continue to cooperate with the investigation. Insys whistleblower Patty Nixon says that's a good thing.
Don't let this slide anymore. This is extremely dangerous, and people have died, people's lives have been ruined, and this company did it for profit.
Right now, let me bring in ABC 15 reporter Dave Biscobing. Dave, were you surprised that Dr. Seth's PR team would be so actively offering interviews knowing he was named in a pretty big civil lawsuit?
Well, it certainly surprised us, but we were more than willing to take them up on the offer.
Dave, what is the Arizona Attorney General hoping to do with that civil lawsuit?
I think it's two things. One, to hold Insys and their key doctors accountable, and the second is to send a message to other companies and their doctors for the future.
I know it's not illegal, but it sure seems unethical for these doctors to receive speaking fees for endorsing specific drugs, but it's pretty commonplace, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There are actually now several websites where you can go and look up your doctor and see if they're on the list.
You've talked to the AG's office. Do you think this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this sort of alleged prescription fraud?
Well, we do know there's a lot of money out there between drug companies and doctors, and when it comes to Insys, there have actually been several doctors across the country who have been criminally charged for their role with this company. So I imagine we could see even more.
ABC 15 reporter Dave Biscobing, thanks so much, and we'll, of course, follow this case